Alright, so let's take a look at how I go about this homemade garlic. I look for moisture. If any of it's still moist, any peel still in there also. But if there's any moisture in there, it'll kind of gum up when you grind it. When you first lay it out to dry, I sun dry mine. And when I first lay it out to dry, it turns green, no reaction to the sunlight. In a more cooler, wet environment, you might want to use a food humidifier. When I lay it out, I put it on two sheets of wax paper because the garlic oil is going to go right through that first sheet and it'll stick to whatever surface you got. I put some aluminum foil underneath it so that I can gather it all onto the aluminum foil, and then it makes it a little bit easier to get it up into the pan. Drying it like this on the wax paper, some of it's going to stick to there. All you have to do is crease it and roll the wax paper to get it to fall off. However much you want to struggle to get off of there is up to you and what you're willing to take as a loss. Alright, so I got a few sheets here, so I'm going to carefully gather it as much as possible onto the aluminum foil. Tear these sheets in half. Get rid of the clean one. I don't need that. There's nothing on it. The one that has the dried garlic stuck to it, I'm going to tear it in half to make it a little bit easier to clean it off and get the rest of the garlic off of there. And just crease it. Get the bigger pieces off just by rubbing it together. Just crease it and then roll it. Once you have it laid out to dry, or laid out to grind it up, I buy these little jars. They're jelly canning jars from Walmart for about $7 a case, which means they're probably $50 up in Canada. I'm just kidding. They're pretty handy. If you try to I used to try to put them or give them to people in a plastic bag, and it really smelled real strong. Use a dedicated coffee bean grinder. Unless you like garlic flavored coffee, then go for it. But I have a dedicated grinder. I put enough in just to get it a little bit short of the top, no more than level with the top of the grinder. As I'm doing this, I'm still finding little green pieces. Again, if you grind those up, it'll just come out like a little waxy ball, as it were. So I try to set those aside and let those dry out. Looking for also for any more peelings that might be in there. Anything that's not supposed to be there. Alright, set it on a fine grind for like an espresso, and just grind it up as fine as possible, or however you like it. You know, it's your garlic, so however you want it, it's all up to you. The first time, or the first batch that you grind, will also tell you how moist it is. If there's too much moisture in there, it'll actually kind of cake up in there. You got a couple choices. You can either leave it in the pan, let it dry another day, or your dehydrator, or you can go ahead and grind it up and then lay it out as a powder and let it dry. You can see I got a little bit of coarse grind and a little bit of fine grind. I like the mix of both. However you want to sift it and how fine you want it, it's up to you. You can see it doesn't want to come out, so it's probably still got some moisture in it. Just knock it out with like a butter knife or something. So if you want to lay the pre-grind out to dry, you can do that. This isn't too bad. I make sure to use a very heavy aluminum foil underneath so I don't tear into it and spill powder everywhere. So I'll probably just let this batch that I've ground, spread it out and let it dry out, and I'll let the stuff in the pan dry out another day. And that's how we make our homemade garlic.